Hey guys, so today I'm going to quickly walk you through how to get your Bytespace agents to repeat tasks for you using loops. Now, this can be super useful for going through product listings, profiles, posts, just about anything that you want to do over and over again. So without jumping in, you can see here that I've already created a more complex looping automation. It has loops within loops, conditions within loops, and then even conditions within conditions. With loops, you can get a lot more complex with your automations. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to just show you how to do something very simple. In this demo, we're just going to be going through all of these product listings and getting the text and the title of each of these listings. Now, how would you do that? First things first, you want to create a loop. So we're going to use LoopData. And LoopData allows you to go through a variety of different things. You can loop a certain number of times if you want to just run the loop over and over for a certain number of intervals. Or in this case, we'll use loop through elements. And you can loop through elements on a page specifically. So let's say in this case, I've enabled list. And then I want to loop through every single one of these items within the list. Okay, I'll copy this, jump over here, add it in, and then loop through product listings. And then we'll name this loop product listings. And if you add 0 here, it'll loop through every single product listing on this page. So it'll go all the way to the bottom until it doesn't find another listing. But in this case, just for the sake of the demo, we'll do 3. And the first thing we want to do is get the text of the entire product. So the way we do that is we can actually reference the loop here, LoopData dot product listings. And then within that, we'll assign it to full product text. And this selector, the reason why we reference it this way instead of going and selecting it with the select an element block is that this equals the exact same thing as this. So it's the same element selector because we're referencing loop ID product listings. And the reason why you reference it that way is because when you're going through the loop, if you reference it directly using this selector, then it would only loop through that first listing over and over and over again. This time you're telling it that I want to loop through each of the listings because you're referencing the loop block. So it's going to go from the first listing to the second to the third like that. And lastly, we want to get the title of this text, right? So now for title, same thing. You're going to loop through loop data dot product listings, and I'll close that out. Get the title text from each of the listings. So we'll give the debugger instructions in case it doesn't work. Then I'll add that to title. And then lastly, I want to make sure that I'm selecting the exact title. So you can also select elements within a list. You can see here, okay, so I've selected the entire list. That's what the loop data reference equals. And then if I jump in and I'm like, okay, I want to come in here and select just the title. Now you can see that it's also given the selector for the title here. So it goes div card list, which is the beginning, which equals the same thing as this. And then I'm going to reference the title. If I select that, you can see, okay, it's just selecting title within the list. And then it's still going to go through each of the elements on the list iteratively. Now, the last thing with loops is that you want to close out the loop. The way to do that is to use a loop breakpoint, and we'll reference the loop ID, product listings. And if you hit the stop loop button here, it'll only run through the loop once. So if you're testing, it'll just do one iteration, even if the number in this is 50 or something like that. But we won't stop it. We'll just go through all 3 in this case. So basically what this block is doing is it's telling the loop that, okay, you've completed one iteration of the loop. Now it's going to go back here, complete another iteration until it hits this number, until it's done it 3 times. The loop breakpoint block tells the loop when the loop is complete. And then this block tells you how many times you want to run through the loop. So now let's try and run the loop from start to finish and see how it does. Okay, so it's found the list. Now it's going to get the title from the first element in the list. Now it's going to get the title from the second element in the list. There we go. And just like that, we've completed the workflow successfully. And now if I jump in here and check the edit table columns, you can see, okay, so we've got the product text, like the full text that's available on that listing. And then we've gotten just the title text as well. And you can get whatever text you want. You can go and get the ratings. You could get the pricing. You could click into here and do a loop around clicking into each listing and then getting all of the product details, whatever you want. But for the sake of this, just created a very simple automation. And you can see that you can create much more complex automations using loops and conditions. If you want me to send you the full automation that scrapes through all of these product listings and goes and gets listings based on certain conditions, then shoot me a DM or comment on the post or send a message on Discord and I'll send